Alright, let's talk about Anthem. A lot of you guys have been asking me, hey Arekkz, can you talk about the game? What do you think about it? What do you think of these problems? Is this an issue? Should I pick up this game? Loads of different things like that, and I figured today we'd sit down and I'd talk about my personal impressions from my time playing thus far. I want to talk about the things that I liked, because there's lots of good stuff there. There are things that I've really enjoyed, and I genuinely am still enjoying the game. But there are also some issues, some things that need to be fixed, some things that need to be changed, some things that need to be addressed. So I thought what we'd do is then touch on some of those, and potentially offer some ideas as to how you might improve different aspects of the game based on things that I would just like to see. So today is all up my impressions based on my playtime thus far. I've got to Endgame. I am about to hit level 30, so I'm kind of starting that Endgame gear grind, which is ultimately what I play this game for. So I feel like I've had a good chance to experience a lot of what the game has to offer right now. Not all of it, obviously, because this is an evolving game. There's a lot of stuff that will change, a lot of things that will grow, but I feel like I've experienced a good chunk of the game to be able to kind of talk to you guys about my overall impressions so far. So, if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, let me know how you guys have been getting on with the game. And of course, if you haven't entered our giveaway for a chance to win a console of your choice, you can click that link in the description box down below to enter. Now let's start with the good, because honestly, as mentioned, I have genuinely had a great time playing this game. Is the game perfect? No, not by a long shot. There are problems, there are things that need to be fixed, as mentioned, things that need to be addressed, but I have still been having a great time playing the game. It's the same thing that I said when I did my impressions of the demo, and it's basically that the gameplay loop is still addictive. I still love the moment-to-moment gameplay of Anthem. I never get tired of jumping off that platform, launching my boosters, flying through the sky, raining down rockets and fire, and just like pulling off combos, like all the core gameplay stuff that I've done time and time again. And bear in mind, I'm still basically playing a similar build. I'm kind of running through with the Colossus, doing what I was doing in the demo, and I'm still having a bunch of fun. The gameplay in Anthem is addictive, and the foundation is great. I said before that for a game like this, a looter shooter, there are two core pillars. There's the moment-to-moment gameplay. The game needs to be fun to play for 10 minutes, 10 hours, 100 hours, 1,000 hours. You need to make sure that if you're shooting that enemy, you're shooting that enemy for the first time, the 10th time, the millionth time, it still feels fun. And that is one thing that Anthem has nailed, in my opinion. Now, obviously keep in mind, different people enjoy things differently. Some people, maybe you're not a fan of the combat. But for me personally, I genuinely like the way it feels. I've always been a fan of third person. I like the camera perspective. I love my mechs. I love the kind of customization. There's a load of stuff about like the kind of setting and theme and everything like that. But pair that with the gameplay, the addictive gameplay, I really enjoy that. So on the gameplay front, of course, super important. Obviously, I said before when I was speaking about the two pillars, the other pillar is Endgame, which we'll touch on in just a moment. So, gameplay loop, I am personally having a great degree of fun with, whether it be diving into a mission, diving into free play, diving into a stronghold. I am messing around with different builds, testing out different abilities, but I'm still playing Colossus right now. I haven't even branched into playing Storm or Interceptor or Ranger. I mean, I've tested them all out in the past, but I'm still fundamentally playing Colossus, so I'm still doing very much the same as what I was doing in the demo, and I'm still enjoying it. So that, as a foundation, is a great sign. The gameplay is fun. On top of that, I really enjoy the gear chase. Now, yes, I will be very clear that there isn't a huge amount of gear to go after, at least in terms of different abilities. Each Javelin has 2 different assault slots and a support slot. There are 2 support abilities per Javelin. There's 5 per slot for everything else. So essentially your Javelin has 12 different abilities. Now, yes, there are, of course, Masterworks, which give you some additional bonuses on top. But in terms of overall gear variety, it is still a slightly smaller pool. Now, this is something that they will expand on. They have said in future expansions in the free DLC, keep in mind that the DLC coming out for this year is completely free. They will be expanding more stuff, giving us more stuff to earn. So I'm sure that pool will grow over time. But either way, at this moment in time, the gear chase I'm still enjoying, because I am, having only just hit level 30, I'm still, only just encountering my epics and my masterwork. So I haven't even got a full epic build. I haven't even got a full masterwork build yet. And I'm starting to see some of those cool masterworks with those cool perks. And that's genuinely getting me excited, because this is why I play these games. Some people have said to me, hey, why did you rush through the game to get to Endgame? Because surely you're going to run out of content. But the reason I play these games, like for me personally, the reason I play looter shooters, the reason I play Destiny, Division, Anthem, the reason I played MMOs is because I like Endgame. It's what I like doing. I like making builds. I like messing around with the top tier stuff. That's fun for me, right? So I'm in that mode right now where I'm kind of chasing gear. I'm seeing people on Twitter are sort of sharing legendaries they're getting, masterworks. I'm like, yo, that would go really well on my build. And that is exciting to me. So that I am genuinely enjoying. So the gear chase, while yes, there might not be a huge variety of different abilities, there is enough right now, at this current moment in time, to keep me entertained, to keep me excited, and to give me things to pursue. Now, whether we fast forward, say, 2-3 weeks, and then I've got a finely tuned masterwork or legendary build, and then maybe I'm looking and thinking, alright, what do I get next? Maybe that's a different discussion. But at this current moment in time, based on my current playtime, I'm enjoying the gear chase. On top of that, the campaign, I really enjoyed it. Now, I've played my fair share of looter shooters. You guys know this if you follow on the channel. I cover Destiny, I cover Division, I cover Anthem, and honestly, Anthem's story has been the best one that I've experienced so far. I found that in the past, looter shooters have always struggled to kind of strike this balance between telling a good story and kind of just providing the rest of the gameplay. Destiny, for example, has tons of lore. It has a great story, but a lot of the time that's not told in-game. You typically start the campaign with some cooler cinematic, you maybe have like a finishing cinematic, and then in between it just kind of doesn't really do much. In Anthem, it told a great story, it has some really cool characters, some characters that I genuinely liked. I like Owen, I like Faye, I like Halleck. There are loads of really cool characters, and while at the beginning I wasn't necessarily that invested, as I went throughout the game, I really started to build connections with them. And I feel like the cinematics were kind of delivered throughout the campaign. Sure, not every single mission had one, but there were enough there to tell a cohesive story from beginning to end, which I feel, personally, I haven't really experienced in this genre up until now. So I think on the story front, yes, there's a lot more I would like to explore, there's more things that I want to know, but I enjoyed the overall story experience. And again, as I said before, I don't play these games for story, right? I enjoyed the story, but I don't go and buy a looter shooter because I'm like, yo, I want a story game. If I want a story game, I'll go and play an RPG. But even saying that, I still really enjoyed the story playing throughout. Of course, on top of that, the world itself, while yes, the map might not be like GTA big, it is a really nice, detailed world. I've always kind of said before that when it comes to open world games, I'd rather a smaller but more like condensed or like more alive map where there's more stuff going on than just a huge barren open map. It's why I like Breath of the Wild. Like, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's still a big map, but it's not necessarily as big as, say, some other games, but there's a lot of stuff going on in that game. And in Anthem, it is very vertical. There's lots of areas that I'm still flying around. I'm finding secret caves, I'm finding different areas. Sure, I would love it if there were different biomes. I would love to see a snowy area, a desert area, a volcanic area, things like that, but right now, I am still enjoying exploring the world. So there are a few things that I'm enjoying right now. So let's talk about some of the problems. Now, one of the biggest ones you guys would have heard about are the loading screens. Loading screens are an issue. There are lots of loading screens. Now, I will be clear, I haven't personally had an issue with load times. I have a powerful PC, my game is installed in the SSD on the root C drive, and the game loads pretty fast, but there are still a lot of loading screens. You start the game and you go into an expedition, you load into an expedition. If a friend invites you, you load into their game. If you go out in free play and you go into a dungeon, you load into a dungeon. If you go into a different part of the mission, you load into that. If you go and you're falling too far behind your squad, you get teleported to them. And every single time you do that, you encounter a loading screen. That doesn't, of course, factor in that if you disconnect or anything like that, you hit more loading screens. So they are a problem because they do interrupt the flow, right? You're playing through the game, you're getting into the story, you're really enjoying the flow, and bam, you've got a loading screen. Now, I don't understand the technical side of things in games. I'm not a game developer, so I don't know how someone would technically speaking do it. Yeah, I would love it if Anthem could be completely seamless. If I could just walk from Fort Tarsis, go out into the open world, I'm sure everyone would love that. I'm sure there are technical reasons why that can't be, but regardless, there are a lot of loading screens and they do interrupt the flow. Now again, as I said, I haven't personally had a problem with loading times, but I know people that have, and obviously if you extrapolate that to people that maybe have it installed on a hard drive, have it installed on somewhere else, and the loading times do take a long time, pair that with frequent loading screens and you do have a rather irritating experience. So that is something that I really do hope they can address. I don't know how you would go about doing it. Obviously, again, I'm not a game designer, I don't know the technical point of view, I don't know how you would do that. But there needs to be some kind of way to try and reduce that amount. And to pair with that, the other thing that really, really bugs me is the tether system. Now, a lot of games have got this, whereby if you're playing missions together and you fall too far behind, they bring you to your team. But in Anthem, it is so aggressive. Like, I will be flying through a mission and I will see my friend literally 10 meters ahead and the game's like, yo, you're too far behind. Let me teleport you. Now keep in mind, if it teleports you, that's a loading screen. That's a problem, right? There are times when I'm literally flying through a door, I'm just behind my friend, and it teleports me instead. And I'm like, well, that loading screen has taken me longer to get to my friend than if I'd flown myself. So they definitely need to ease up on that. I imagine that's just a case of kind of expanding that tether. Again, technically speaking, I don't know how you would achieve it, but that needs to change. Because that right there probably annoyed me more than the loading screen, simply because again, the loading kind of times weren't an issue for me, but it's just the fact that I'll be flying through the world, I'll be having a great time, or maybe like I stopped to harvest a material. I might have seen something and be like, I'm gonna go and grab that chest, and my friend's flying ahead, and I'm like, well, now I'm gonna get teleported because I chose to wait like 5 seconds. So that 100% needs to be addressed. Now on top of that, there's an aspect early on in the campaign. Now again, I'm not going to speak spoilers or anything like that, but there is a point early on in the campaign where there's a mission, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm going to talk about here. There's a mission that really changes the flow of the game. Now you start the game, you run through campaign missions, they're fun, they are relatively good paced, and every single time you come back, you chat to people in Fort Tarsis, you go back out again, and you kind of keep that flow going. So obviously for me, as someone that wants to get to Endgame, I start playing through, and then you encounter this mission which basically involves you going to free play and doing a ton of activities like getting melee kills, ultimate kills, gun kills, ability kills, loads of things like that. And that's a weird change of pace for the game. A game that you've basically been flowing through for quite some time, just kind of, playing at a steady pace, you then suddenly grind to a halt and you physically can't skip past this. This feels more like a side mission than a main mission, but it is a main mission. You can't carry on in the campaign until you do this, and some of these tasks aren't that exciting. Now, to be clear, they have announced they are adjusting the way this works, so by the time a lot of you guys play on the 22nd, you might not experience it the way that I did. For me, I had to go out and basically got to the point where I hit this thing, and all progress I'd done up until this point wasn't tracked, so I had to start doing all these things from this point forward. So I then had to go out and get 50 kills, 50 ultimate kills. I had to go and open 15 chests. Chests were a problem as well because, again, based on the time that I was playing, when you open a chest, it doesn't count for your team. So you had to physically go out and find 15 chests yourself. That's a large amount, especially when they might not always be spawning, or if you're in free play and people have opened them. It was just really annoying. So obviously my solution for that would have been to either reduce it to like 5 chests, or obviously make it so that they open for your rest of your team. Now keep in mind, they have since said that it's a bug. It's supposed to firstly be where if you open a chest, it kind of counts in a wider radius, so it will count for your team. And what they've also said is their counterpoint to this is that the tracking for this particular quest actually begins at level 3, so even before you encounter it, the game will start counting the things you do, your melee kills, your ultimate kills, so by the time you get to this quest, you've actually already completed a lot of the stuff. So that as a flow will be much better. So I imagine when you guys get to this quest, you probably won't find it so bad. Also, additionally, I kind of went about it the wrong way. I did all of it in free play, whereas what you should have done was encountered this quest and just done some missions, because then you kind of just do it at the same time. And by missions, I mean the side missions, because you can't carry on the main mission with it. Either way, I still think from a design point of view, it just seemed a bit weird. Like, you're flowing through this campaign, which just flows really well, is told very well, and then suddenly you hit this brick wall of like, yo, go and do loads of free play activities, which you kind of don't want to do right now. Like, free play is supposed to be there if I want to do it, as like a downtime, not as a, you're going to force me to do this now. So that was probably one of my low points of the campaign. Outside of that, I enjoyed it, but that's definitely one of those things that I probably didn't enjoy playing through. I am very interested to see what it feels like as of the 22nd, when they put these fixed in place. So if any of you guys play on the 22nd, you get to this point and you tell me, I'd love to know what it feels like to play through this now. Maybe it doesn't feel so bad, so maybe it doesn't feel like a brick wall. But for me, it definitely was. Now, of course, outside of that, a couple of other things to work on. I mentioned before that it would be nice to, of course, widen that loot diversity, even down to weapons. Admittedly, Anthem is definitely more an ability game than a weapon game, but regardless, within each weapon category, you basically have 3 different options. You have 3 types of marksman rifles, 3 types of heavy pistols, 3 types of autocannons, and obviously you then have different rarities, but in terms of actual diversity within that, you kind of just find your weapon you like early on and you basically stick with it. So on one hand, it's cool because obviously if you find something you like, you continue using it, you then unlock better crafting recipes, you craft rarer versions, eventually fast forward to Endgame where you get a masterwork version, it kind of works out well. But on the flip side, it's also like, you kind of expect a looter shooter to just be raining down loot that's just different all the time. So you're just like, what do I do with all this loot? So you don't necessarily get that feeling. I kind of delete things a lot of the time and I keep quite a, condensed inbox so that I basically just have a limited selection of items to play with. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And of course, the other thing to address is Endgame. Now, this is always an interesting discussion because on one camp, people will say, well, Arekkz, you rushed the Endgame. You completed the campaign in like one day and you're at Endgame and now you're going to tell me there's not enough content? Yeah, I get that. But to be clear, what I'm talking about more so when it comes to endgame content is just, irrespective of how long it takes you to get there, the breadth of content available is quite light at launch. Now, we knew this was the case, we knew this before launch, we knew there were going to be 3 strongholds, we knew there would be contracts, legendary contracts, and free play. We knew that was basically going to be our endgame loop. I went into the game knowing that, and honestly, right now, it's completely fine. I have not got to the point where I'm like, I need something else to do. I'm still actually farming the first stronghold because I just know it so well and it's a good way for me to get loot. I'm jumping into the second one because it kind of gives me more loot as well because of the boss drops and whatnot. So I'm not at the point where I'm like, I don't feel like I've got anything to do. I'm still chasing gear, I'm still chasing things, but overall, as an Endgame experience, there is like one big gaping hole, which is some kind of higher tier activity beyond Stronghold. Strongholds are fun. I enjoy them. I genuinely do. I like the third one. I'm not going to talk about it because, again, spoiler territory, but I really like it. However, I still deem them as kind of like a mid-tier activity. I wouldn't really say Strongholds are like Endgame. Now, the conventional term, everyone always says it when you talk about these games, is raids, but the game needs something like that because I want a really tough, really difficult reason that's not just Grandmaster to go and build something crazy. And the nice thing is, in Anthem, I can see that potential. I played through the third Stronghold, and again, I'm not going to talk about what happens in it, but there are certain parts during that encounter, during the final boss encounter, where I'm like, this could be translated into a raid encounter. There's parts here, there's platforms here, there's things here, which could very easily work in a raid-like encounter and make this a really cool, really difficult, really challenging, higher tier endgame content that I think people would love. And for that reason, that's kind of why I am not so worried right now, because I see Anthem in kind of a very different state. I kind of went into this game knowing that not everything's going to be there at launch, and I know this because I've played these genres before. I've played Destiny, and I've been with it since the start. I've played Division, I've been with it since the start. None of these games come out and are perfect at launch. None of them do. Like, a lot of people are making comparisons to Destiny, to Division, to Warframe, and they're comparing the game right now to Anthem at launch. Like, you can't do that. Those games have been through years of content updates. Anthem is a fresh game. Now, I'm not trying to sort of defend and say, you know, it's fine to not have the content, because I get if you are putting down $60, you want to pay that money, and you want to make sure that you get good value for your game. I understand if you want to be like, okay, maybe I'm going to wait 6 months and play Anthem later. I completely get that. But for me personally, again, because I'm talking about my impressions, I went into the game knowing this, happy that I will go in, play the content, probably get to endgame and find that there's, you know, a decent amount of stuff to do, and then I might grind to a halt and be like, alright, now I need something else. But because Anthem is so much fun to play, and because it has a great foundation and a lot of potential, I can see where this game will go, and for that reason, that excites me, and that allows me to kind of like look past some of this stuff, because I know that this stuff will be fixed. Like, yeah, there are issues. There are like glaring issues right now that need to be dealt with, but they will be dealt with. And fast forward 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, the Anthem you're playing now will not be the same Anthem you play in 12 months' time. And for that reason, I want to be part of that journey because I genuinely am enjoying it. I want to see the world grow. And in games like this, the world evolves. We already have a look at the kind of initial post-launch plan, again, which is completely free. They'll be adding more strongholds, more activities, more gear, more stuff to do, more story missions. They'll expand the whole world. And if you pick up the base game, obviously, then, you know, you're with that for the whole time because you don't have to pay for the rest of it. And for that reason, I'm genuinely kind of cool to wait. So that's the thing, right? That's kind of where I'm at right now. It's kind of hard to try and give a full-on impressions in the same way that anyone that kind of writes reviews, any media outlet. It's hard to review a game like this early on because these games are games as a service, they're games that evolve, and I'm talking right now about my kind of initial impressions, having played the game for like a week since it's launched on Premier Access. But of course, outside of that, it'll be more interesting to see how the game is, you know, across a month, across 2 months. But obviously, because I have no time machine, I can't jump forward that time. All I can talk about is what's happening right now. So right now, quite simply, I'm having fun. And that's ultimately why I play games, right? I play games because I enjoy games. I'm not out here to be like hypercritical. I'm not out here to like, you know, tear things down or get angry about stuff. Like, I play games that I enjoy. If I don't enjoy it, I will step away. It's literally that simple for me. And going into Anthem, I knew what I was going to expect. I've had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to continue having fun with it because I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface right now. And that is genuinely how I feel about the game. I'm sure some people out there probably want me to get angry and get all like hyper aggressive on videos and stuff, but that's not me. I'm not that person. I'm just like, I play games to enjoy them, and if it gets to the point the game's frustrating me, I will just put it down and I'll walk away. So that's it for the time being. Appreciate kind of a long form video, no script. I kind of rambled for a bit, but hopefully that kind of gives you guys a rundown of where I am personally at based on my experience. So obviously I'm not here to tell you guys if you should buy the game. I don't feel like it's my job to say you should or should not buy the game. I'm putting up videos to show you guys what the game has to offer. I'm talking about how I have experienced the game, how I've encountered it, and the rest of it is ultimately up to you guys to make up your own mind. So hopefully you enjoyed this content. If you did, like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, leave your feedback, and of course, keep it locked for plenty more Anthem content. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to check out some more awesome stuff from us here at Arekkz Gaming, then you should definitely try to catch TwoSixNine and Paradise Central streaming 6 days a week. You can find a link to the multi-stream in the description box down below. They play a wide range of games, and what's more, we also have the Endgame store. By watching their streams, you earn currency, and you can redeem that currency on the Endgame store for really cool prizes. Those can range from things like games, comics, and figures, all the way up to controllers, capture cards, and even consoles. So definitely drop by and become part of the community. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you're subscribed and be sure to click on that little bell icon to turn on notifications so you don't miss our next upload. You can watch more videos by clicking on the options here, but once again, thanks very much for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.